right. So we are taking a look at Proverbs chapter 8 this morning. And this is two chapters where we're going to see a kind of a wrap up of this introduction to the book of Proverbs. Chapters 1 through 9 having some topical subjects, but a lot of just introducing the importance of wisdom. 5, 6, and 7, adultery. But now 8 and 9, again, the excellence of wisdom. The way of wisdom is how my Bible has these chapters headed. And then we move into the fast one-liners that are quite often what we associate with the book of Proverbs. So chapter 8, verse 1, does not wisdom cry out and understanding lift up her voice? She takes her stand at the top of the high hill, beside the way where the paths meet. She cries out by the gates, at the entry of the city, at the entrance of the doors. To you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. O you simple ones, understand prudence. O you fools, be of an understanding heart. Listen, for I will speak of excellent things, and from the opening of my lips will come right things. For my mouth will speak truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are with righteousness. Nothing crooked or perverse is in them. They are all plain to him who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things one may desire cannot be compared with her. And so, again, it's just this call to gain wisdom and understanding. And it's kind of frustrating in the days we live to see just how illogical, unwise, and lacking of knowledge so many people are. It's almost painful to watch. I dare to say that much of what we see in the wokeness and some of the stuff that's done in the name of social justice, it's kind of painful for those of us who've at least tried to embrace godly wisdom. I don't want to act like I have it all, but you see some of the way people think, and it kind of hurts my face. Not just my brain, it's a radiating pain to see what is going on in the day and age in which we live. And so that's why wisdom cries out. That's the idea. It's not hidden wisdom. It's not secret knowledge. I mean, I think that's like a trendy thing, and we'll find that appeals to the flesh, and one of the first heresies to come at the church was Gnosticism, which in the name Gnostic, that whole idea, it's rooted in the idea of a hidden knowledge, of a deeper knowledge. And there's these kind of secret things about Jesus and God that if you knew the deep stuff, then you'd know. Well, that's not the reality of it. Really, the main thing is typically the plain thing, right? And if the plain sense makes sense, then any other sense is nonsense. When we look at the scripture, God puts it really straightforward in almost all cases. It doesn't mean that there's not interpretation needing and understanding needing, but it's not something that's hidden. It's something that as you go through, typically it starts to make sense once the pieces get put together. And I think for many of you, you might remember when things made less sense, but they make a lot more sense now. And you still feel like, well, still lots doesn't make sense. I know, but as we go verse by verse through the Bible, and once you start just kind of digging a little bit, it makes sense. It just makes sense. And so wisdom is not something hidden. Wisdom is not something you have to go and turn over rocks and go into deep hidden knowledge. It's crying out. It's on the hilltops. It's on where the main roads intersect, wanting to be heard. And so God tries to make it easy for us. Verse 12, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge and discretion. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil. Pride and arrogance and the evil way and the perverse mouth I hate. What is the fear of the Lord? It's the beginning of wisdom. It's the beginning of knowledge. And the fear of the Lord is to hate evil. What are examples of evil? Pride and arrogance are evil. The evil way, and we kind of see that as just a general thing. The perverse mouth. People saying stuff they shouldn't be saying. Now he says, counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By me kings reign and rulers decree justice. By me princes rule and nobles and all the judges of the earth. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. Riches and honor are with me, enduring riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yes, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I traverse the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of justice, that I may cause those who love me to inherit wealth, that I may fill their treasuries. So now this is some of the stuff we've been talking about, where, get this, earlier on, I think I was saying that I'm not a prosperity preacher. I'm not telling you, health, wealth, and all. But now here, get this. If we learn the wisdom of God, that wisdom can bring us wealth. It's not this supernatural blessing of God pouring out his blessing on those whom he loves and, they're going to all be really wealthy. But the idea here is, first off, that the fruit of wisdom is better than gold. So we're talking about something that's better than money here. But that I may cause those who love me to inherit wealth and fill their treasuries. When people are wise, smart people and wise people often make smart and wise financial decisions that puts them in a good place. And so that's part of this, is the idea. People who love me will find me. Who's me? It's wisdom speaking here. That's a great verse sometimes to use thinking about God, but it's not actually about God. Right? I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. It's speaking about wisdom. I'm sure I've misquoted that before, but it's wisdom doing the talking there. And people who are really seeking wisdom, they're going to find it because wisdom's not hiding. Wisdom's out on the mountaintops and out in the street corners trying to be found. Verse 22, the Lord possessed me at the beginning of his way, wisdom. Before his works of old, I have been established from everlasting, from the beginning before there ever was an earth. So get the idea, God's wisdom has been around. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills, I was brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth or the fields or the primal dust of the world. Ooh, that could be a long, fun talk right there. I'll keep going. Maybe we'll come back. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep. When he established the clouds above. When he strengthened the fountains of the deep. When he assigned the sea to its limits so the waters would not transgress his command. When he marked out the foundations of the earth. Then I was beside him as a master craftsman. And I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in his inhabited world, and my delight was with the sons of men. Now therefore, listen to me, my children, for blessed are those who keep my ways. Hear instruction, be wise, do not disdain it. Blessed is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoever finds me finds life, and obtains favor from the Lord. But he who sins against me wrongs his own soul. All those who hate me love death. And so again, it's all about the wisdom of God. It's all about the wisdom of God, and that when God established the earth, his wisdom was built into it. We could do a real long creation study, but I do want to flip back to Genesis chapter 1 real quick, because that really, I'm going to highlight this in my Bible book too. You see, the idea of the primal dust of the world, I like that because it says in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And what we find there is the creation of time, space, and matter. In the beginning. Before the beginning, there was no time. But God created time. He created the heavens, which is a place to put stuff. Heavens are space. Whether it's the sky, the outer space, right? It's an area. So we have time and space, and then matter. It says the earth. Now, this is something that I think people struggle with, but the idea here is he created time, space, and earth. Not so much the idea that he first made time, space, and then the world was made, and then he has to remake it. This is an issue when people try and look at the idea of a gap theory, that the earth was without form and void, because they're thinking, oh no, he made the earth, the globe, but the globe was all destroyed. That's not what's being said here. The primal dust is what was spoken of there in the Proverbs. The idea is God made earth. He made substance. He made objects. Time, space, and matter all must exist to have existence. You can't have stuff without a place to put it. You can't have stuff without a time to put it. And so the idea is that God created time, space, and he created all matter. And likely it was in the form of like atoms and molecules. Stuff was just around, but it was without form and void. What do you call that? Well, the waters, in a sense. And the idea of waters, again, we're using the best scientific language they had to use. You've got stuff and it's floating about, but it's without form. It doesn't, if you just had atoms freely floating across the universe, this is what you have. And then on the first day he creates light. And I think it has to do more with not just light, but energy, because we learn from the laws of thermodynamics that energy, we have entropy, we're losing potential energy, right? That it had to have a starting point, and it's been going downhill since then. And so what you start seeing then after God creates energy, so now he has all the stuff and he has all the energy he needs, as the days move forward, now God starts to separate things. The idea is I'm going to clump together these atoms into a big ball, and that's going to be the earth. And then he's going to separate those atoms into the water and the land, and from there then the plants and everything else. And so anyway, I could keep going on the days of creation, but I just highlighted, I didn't have it highlighted before, Proverbs 8:26, the primal dust of the world. That's kind of what it's talking about there. When he first started, wisdom was a part of this. God's knowledge, God's wisdom, God's hand in creation, it was all there. And here he takes this primal dust. I mean, what do you describe as an ancient writer? Atoms floating around. They didn't have those words, but the primal dust, before everything started, little particles, he took that and began to take it and form it. Last thing on creation, because it's worth noting that we are triune beings. I believe in the trichotomy, man. We're body, soul, and spirit. Animals have spirits. They're living, and they have personality, which is part of their spirit. But only humans have eternal souls. And what we find is bara is a Hebrew word that means to create, ex nihilo, a Latin phrase, out of nothing. And asa means to form, take stuff and form it, like clay, or you're constructing a shed from materials, you're forming it. He uses bara 3 times in Genesis 1. When he created the heavens and the earth, when he created all the matter, all the non-living things were assembled out of that. It was asa from there out. Until he created animals. And so on day 5, when the animals are created, that had a spirit, they were living. When man was made, bara, once again, he breathed into him the breath of life, and the man had a soul. So God created the flesh, living, the physical stuff, the spirit, and then the soul. 3 times bara is used in Genesis 1. Did not mean for this to be a creation study, but there we go. Proverbs 3 with some extra Genesis 1 stuff in the middle, or towards the end. Dark in the Darkness is coming out March 20th and 21st, so you should check that out if you ever get a chance. It'll be in theaters, and then it'll come home, so you can watch it from home whenever that happens. Speaking of movies, tomorrow night we're showing The Chosen at church. You should come. All right. God bless you guys. Have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning.